This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, it's taken 8 years, but plans for a large housing subdivision in Mosgiel are finally approved. Queenstown's former camping ground is taken over by diggers and earth movers for $1 billion development. And a local health provider partners with the Highlanders rugby team to get their message out. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. A large 39-hectare subdivision planned for Mosgiel has finally been given the green light. The couple who own the land started planning the development 8 years ago and say it's been a very long journey to get this far.
Greenfield set to become a new housing development on the Taieri. The go-ahead has finally been given for nearly 40 hectares on the western side of Mosgiel to be turned into about 500 residential lots. The development is expected to create a mix of apartments, pensioner flats and standalone houses with sections. The large area of land is owned by Clive and Linda Wallace, who also own the neighbouring Walls Plant Nursery. They believe the subdivision will be a plus for Dunedin.
It's exciting for the city to have some more houses that people can afford and enjoy the climate of the Mosgiel area.
The couple have spent 8 years fighting to rezone the land for residential housing, and they're now almost ready to hand over the project to a commercial developer. But they admit they're surprised at how long it's taken to get to the approval stage.
It's been a very long journey, and a lot of times we thought we were getting there, and then it just stopped again. So finally we've had the big tick, so it's great.
The subdivision is planned to include some big trees as well as numerous rhododendrons sourced from their nursery.
It'll be beautifully landscaped as it's developed with the roading structure that has to go through the whole site, so I think that'll be a very attractive development.
It's hoped earthworks can start after Christmas, with the development being created in stages over a number of years. In Mosgiel, the South Today.
Wanaka volunteers are keen to see a master plan for their town centre to be developed. Over the past 20 years, there have been repeated calls for a master plan for the area. 3 years ago, the Wanaka Community Board decided not to endorse the most recently proposed master plan. But yesterday, a volunteer group presented a work timeline to the Community Board. It's asking the board to consider adopting the finalised program when it's ready. And there's also major changes in store for central Queenstown, with $1 billion development planned for the town's former camping ground. Lakeview Taumata is a massive 6-stage development which would take more than a decade to complete, adding new homes, hotels and business outlets for the area.
The beginning of something special near Queenstown CBD. Lakeview Taumata will be $1 billion development on what was previously a camping ground, and is estimated to take up to 15 years to complete. Initial work has begun, with the large-scale development to include a mix of residential living, retail and hospitality outlets, and eventually 3 new hotels. Paul Burnaby, General Manager of 94 Feet New Zealand, sees Lakeview as an extension of the town.
Just generally the town was at capacity. So Lakeview really brings on a lot of new supply of apartments, a lot of new supply of hospitality and food and beverage outlets, new supply of hotels. So it's really an expansion of Queenstown.
Locals got an update on the project last night. Along with confirmation, a fast-track consent application has just been lodged. All going well, it's hoped construction on the first 224 of 500 residential units will start next year. The work is taking place on around 15 hectares of land at the foot of Ben Lomond, and Burnaby says Lakeview is designed to integrate with nature.
Some of the things that I'm most excited about are the fact we're doing a regenerative design right through the master plan, and what that means, like some of the practical things that means, is building with timber instead of concrete and steel.
Residential living options will range from mini and studio apartments through to 3-bedroom units. Prices are still to be confirmed, but they're expected to go on sale once the project is consented. Developers say Lakeview is aiming to become a part of the future of the resort, while providing many jobs for labourers and other workers over the next decade. In Queenstown, The South Today.
It's been revealed a young woman who sent fake bomb threats to Otago University was trying to stop her parents from finding out she wasn't graduating. The bombing and shooting threats resulted in the official December 2020 graduation ceremonies being cancelled for both the university and Polytech. That affected about 3,000 graduands, with some making do with informal outdoor celebrations instead. In court late yesterday, it was revealed the former student had been suspended from Otago University after failing her first year twice. She didn't want to tell her parents she wasn't graduating and had switched to a Polytech course. The cancellations and aftermath cost the university an estimated $1.3 million. The woman, who has name suppression, was sentenced to 5 months community detention and 9 months supervision. Ngāi Tahu-owned health provider Te Kaika is set to sponsor the Highlanders rugby team in an attempt to reach more Māori, Pacifica and low-income children. It's a 3-year partnership and is aiming to bring attention to the importance of immunisation.
Mixing with the public and meeting some of their younger fans is something Highlanders players are well used to. Now the team's announced a 3-year partnership with Ngāi Tahu-owned health provider Te Kaika. It'll see the two organisations working together to improve the health of their communities.
Continuing to innovate and be a leader in the messaging around, be wise and immunise. We don't want to see things like measles when the borders open up becoming endemic in New Zealand.
For the last 2 years, the focus has been on COVID vaccinations and related health measures. That's meant a lot of immunisations have been delayed across the region. Te Kaika now plans to focus much of its work around getting that important message in front of families.
No other health organisation in New Zealand has ever partnered with a professional rugby team across both promoting services but actually being on the ground and doing stuff.
Te Kaika's financial sponsorship is expected to see them take a spot on the team jersey, along with having access to Highlanders players and staff for community development. The partnership coming together thanks to a shared specialist.
Our doctor, who's full-time, but obviously through COVID wasn't, working for Te Kaika, and then discussions started about, well, how can we help them do what they do best, and vice versa. So
the health and wellbeing provider turned to Super Rugby for its strong reach, especially among Māori, Pacifica and low-income families.
Yeah, I think as an organisation and as a rugby team and a local team, we want to be connected to all our fans, and obviously with our team being multicultural as well, a lot of people from diverse backgrounds. I'm Māori myself, and it's a big part of that.
Connecting with the community and sharing important health messages. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Whai Iākene, still to come on The South Today. The art of flying drones is a serious competitive sport for one Christchurch team. And we take a visit at a Dunedin school that uses New Zealand Sign Language all year round.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Hi, we're H Concern Otago.
H Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including indoor walks.
Evening, I'm from the Parks Department. Have you got a permit for that fire?
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
My mate John's Friday the 13th sale is on now. He slashed his entire range of rock-bottom warehouse price furniture and beds up to 75% off.
And my mate John.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
Spark your joy with Jazz, the next generation from Honda.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Tanakwe, welcome back. The sport of drone racing is fairly new to New Zealand, but growing fast overseas with a Champions League and a World Cup. It turns the art of flying drones into a competitive sport, and for one Christchurch teen, his dreams of racing on the world stage will soon be realised.
Racing fast and furious at mind-numbing speeds. Kiwi drone pilot Jaden Jackson is better known in the sport of drone racing by his tag Shrimpy Boy. The Lincoln-based builder has been selected from the top 100 competitors in the world, invited to be the first Kiwi drone racer to join a Spanish team competing in the Drone Champions League in Europe.
I somehow ended up being the first pick out of the draft, but I don't know how that happened because I ended up placing 11th. Yeah, so that blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
The sport of drone racing sees participants control flying drones fitted with cameras while wearing head-mounted displays. Jackson competed online to make the grade in the ultra-competitive team sport and says the high-tech sport requires a lot of practice, skill and concentration.
It's adrenaline rush, is what it is. Yeah, it's just in the moment. It's a break from reality as well. You know, it's just in the moment, that's all you're thinking about, that's all that's going on.
In the hybrid world of Champions League drone racing, Jackson will first race online to qualify for a Grand Prix, before picking up the controller and racing the real thing in the first-person view mode. He says the screaming super-fast drones are specially hand-built and packed full of technology.
One of a kind, like they're spec. You can't buy DCL drones. They're custom built from each team, and they just travel. It's all the computing in them. It's just a different market. A different kettle of fish, you know.
He says competitive drone race pilots need to have excellent hand-eye coordination and be willing to practice to be on top of the world. In Lincoln, the South Today.
A Dunedin woman has been knitting clothes and blankets that are destined for Ukrainian refugees. Suzanne Lane is one of about 3,000 New Zealanders who each year knit items for needy families in Eastern Europe.
Knitting garments and blankets for refugees from the war in Ukraine. Dunedin woman Suzanne Lane is one of about 3,000 people across the country creating much needed garments for those who have fled the Ukrainian war and are now refugees in neighbouring countries. She knits in front of the television most nights and says she's pleased to know her efforts are for a good cause.
We get photographs of the kids wearing them, and we just got a photograph from Mission Without Borders the other day of a place where where they're looking after refugees, and it's got mattresses on the floor and it's got coloured blankets on, and so I sent it around to everybody. I think, wonder if these are our blankets, you know. And when I'm sewing up a glove, I think, oh, I hope I made it big enough and hope it's warm enough.
She's making the garments and blankets for Operation Cover Up, which is a New Zealand organisation of volunteers that's been sending home-knitted items as well as toiletries and hygiene products to Eastern European countries for more than 20 years.
Well, I've actually been knitting for them for about 15 years. It was when I lived in Twizel for 4 years, and I joined the Women's Institute, and it was through there that I came to know about it, because most of the women were knitting for it, for Operation Cover Up.
She says she likes a challenge, such as the different stitches required to put together a series of dazzling children's jerseys.
Start at the bottom, knit here, add on for the sleeve, knit there, make a hole for the neck over the other side, knit there, and then all you have to do is join up the side seams. And there's different stitches too. That's just me. I get bored easily.
The next shipment of knitted goods is set to leave for Eastern Europe in early July. In Dunedin, the South Today.
It's New Zealand Sign Language Week, and people across the country have been dedicating time to learn some sign language phrases. But at one Dunedin school, sign language is an everyday means of communication all year round.
Dunedin-based children's entertainer Rainbow Rosalind fronting a music video that's an introduction to sign language.
With sign language I can talk with all my friends. With sign language, the fun, it never ends.
The video was filmed in front of a green screen at Allied Productions television studios and is part of New Zealand Sign Language Week. The children in the video all attend Halfway Bush School in Dunedin. The school has a roll of just 40 pupils, with 7 of those being deaf. Headmaster Brian Filippo says it's good to have a large group of deaf children going to the same school, as it helps normalise the experience of deaf education.
We have lunch together, activities together, play together in the playground, things at interval and lunchtime as well. So it really is an opportunity for a critical mass of deaf children being with the mainstream as well.
And the pupils who can hear are making the most of their sign language lessons.
There's different signs. Every time you learn a sign, you actually get to move on to a next sign. And sign, you can also talk to other people without making any sounds.
You know, isn't it lovely where our children can sign to them, you know, if they want to play, if they want to do activities, there's sign going both ways. So that's been wonderful.
The sign language video was funded by New Zealand On Air. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whai Yakane. After the break on the South Today, an Otago school tackles a range of issues through performance art, and we'll take a look at the weather ahead of the weekend.
Drop when you season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
My mate John's Friday the 13th sale is on now. He slashed his entire range of rock bottom warehouse price furniture and beds, some by 75%. No one beats John on price. Friday the 13th sale, up to 75% off. Only at John's Furniture Warehouse and online at mymatejohn.co.nz.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Tēnā, welcome back. The power of words is being explored by drama pupils at Logan Park High School. The pupils are taking part in a performance art project looking at the range of issues including gender discrimination.
Choosing words carefully as part of a project at Logan Park High School. These drama pupils were tasked with cutting out words to form powerful phrases on the theme of gender inequality. It is part of a performance art project by Dunedin visual artist Ati Kushwaha, which she's called Per Ardua ad Alta, through difficulties to heights.
It's a project which is performance based, which is highlighting gender discrimination and which is highlighting or talking about the benefits of gender equality in the society.
And the Logan Park pupils have strong views to share on the theme of gender identity.
It's really awesome and refreshing to see how things are progressing and how open we're able to become and have conversations like this.
Women are expected to be for other people and for men, especially white men, and being so sexualised in the media for so long.
I'm non-binary, so beyond the gender binary it's kind of reminding people that it's not just women who are oppressed because of their gender.
Men can be strong, but there's also a general statement of expectations of how men are expected to be strong.
The pupils are preparing to perform the piece at the Otago Pioneer Women's Memorial Association Hall in Moray Place on Saturday, May the 14th. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. It took the Wallaces 8 years of fighting, but plans for a 39-hectare, 500-home subdivision in Mosgiel have finally approved. Meanwhile, Queenstown's former camping ground is taken over by diggers and earth movers to make way for a $1 billion housing and business development called Lakeview Taumata. And Ngāi Tahu health provider Takaika is sponsoring the Highlanders rugby team. They're partnering up to spread the message about the importance of getting immunised. And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, a cold front and trough of low pressure moves over the south tomorrow, bringing rain and southwesterlies. More fronts arrive next week with an unsettled and rather cold week ahead. Heading to the top of the South Island first, Nelson looks cloudy with rain tomorrow up to 17. Greymouth showery with southwesterlies and 16. In Christchurch will be wet too with rain throughout the afternoon, reaching 16 degrees. To our southern towns next. Showery with southwesterlies through here as the Catlins heads for 13 tomorrow, while Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore get 12 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes area, Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra start the weekend off with a 14-degree day, with it rain easing and moderate southerlies. And Te Anau looks showery with a high of 12. To the northern towns next. Timaru gets 17, while Uamudu sits back a bit on 15, both in for rain and southwesterlies. Over to Twizel and Omarama, the southwest change comes through with rain easing and highs of 15 or 16. Down to Dunedin, northerlies and rain developing tonight, dropping to 13. Saturday starts overcast for weekend sport and light early rain in northerlies, up to 14 and down to 8 degrees. A cool change comes through on Sunday with southwesterlies and then late northeasterlies. Expect a high of 12 and a low of 7. And now to Invercargill. Rain tonight with cold southwesterlies and a low of 9 degrees. Tomorrow expect more of this coming through, reaching 11 and down to 7. And then a fine Sunday with some cloud and light winds, up to 14 and dropping down to 8 degrees as the low. That's the news this Friday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Have a happy and safe weekend. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.